Alright, today I would like to share you my experience about how to set up the configuration for managed identities in the Azure function. So sometimes people face this problem when they set up the role-based access control for Azure function, and how to do that. Normally, when you want to access to the database like IDOS or CosmosDB, or if you always use the key or the master key or the connection string to connect to the database, right? But sometimes your project require to use the managed identity to manage the people, the roles of the assignment to access the database or access to the IDOS, how they control the Azure function to access that database story, right? So how to do that? For example, right here, when you create the function app resource, right? For example, right here, you have to go to the identities, okay, and you have to the system assign, and you have to turn on the system, the status is on, then you save, all right? And after that, you have to do one more step. You have to add roles assignment. Right here, you can see, you click on the add role assignment, and you can see, you can choose your scope. For example, right here they show you SQL, storage, keyboard, something like that. For example, storage. Okay, you want this Azure function have the right to access to the storage. So you choose your storage, you choose the role to access the storage, or right here, for example, contributor. It means you ask the Azure function have the right to contribute anything to this storage, right? This IDOS and this, right? Okay, click this and click save. And wait a second, they will ask the roles or assignment right here for you. Wait a second, they take a little bit time, but you think you look at right here, when you see right here where the CosmosDB, right? You don't have that, right? Right here you can choose keyboard, SQL, resource group, but they didn't show you how to add the role assignment for the CosmosDB. How to do that? That's the biggest problem you had to face when you set up a role-based access control. I will show you in this video. Wait a second, they will ask. And after the set full, for example, right here, I show you when you ask the role, Azure role assignment, you see they ask you, okay, for example, this Azure function, they have the access to the key role, the access to the IDOS to get the database, to get the secret from the key role, right? That's one example. But in this video, they show you how to do with the CosmosDB, but you can't do it in this in the portal, right? You have to do by another way. And want to do that, you have to use the Azure COI. Yep. You have some command to set up the role-based control, and to do the Azure COI, you have to click right here, right, and go to the command right here. And the first step, you have to create the file name. For example, right here. For example, you have to create the file, okay? And this is a JSON file, okay? I forgot this one. This is a JSON file. They, define the role name, the type, and the right you to access to the container in the CosmosDB, right? For example, CosmosDB, you ask for permission to query, to write the data, read the data, whatever. You have the full authority to control the CosmosDB, right? That's the first step in the JSON file, and after that, you have to do one more step. Okay, you have to open this one to easy to see, and you have to load in the file you create. For example, right here, I already create the file right here. You can see, and I upload this one. And after upload this, and I have to refresh, and I see the file right here, right? That's the file, the JSON file define the role and the right to access to the database. Okay, and the next step after you create the JSON file, you have to do one more step right here, and right here you have to write some command. For example, right here, you have to check your resource group, what your resource group name, right? You have to know the resource group name, okay? And right here, for example, my resource group is this name, okay? And enter. And the second one, you have to know the account, the CosmosDB. What the account, the CosmosDB? Right here, for example, I have my account named this name, okay? And let's enter, okay? And I show you. This is my database. This is my CosmosDB. You see, here's my account name, right? And this are the container. So I want the API in the Azure function app have the right to access to this container with the database right here, okay? And that's the way I do right now. So next step, you have to do you have to okay. After that one and continue, you have to know this one. Okay. And this command, Azure CosmosDB SQL role definition create, and ACE is the account name they get from here, and resource name they get from here. And after that, you had to type in the name of the file you create right here, okay? And enter. After enter, the system will generate the role name ID, and you will see that. I'll show you. This is important ID you have to remember. Just, well, wait a minute. The system generate the name, role name ID for you. From that ID, you have to register to access to the CosmosDB. Oh, sorry, this file already, the name already, I had to, yeah, this one already, I should change the name of this one. Let's upload another one. Okay, I create another one right here, and I should create that. Row definition .json. Just waiting for the system share. The previous one is been already used from another function, so I had to change the name. A row definition with the name. Yeah, maybe the row name I had to change this right here. Right, December. Control S, okay. And do it again. Yep, it's work. It's mean I had to change the name here. The previous name already used. So from this file, you can see is this important information right here. That's the name ID. You have to use this ID again for next command. And for next command, you have to use is in this one, you see I define the row name, the name you create, and the resource name. Show you the name you create right here, resource name, and all the right here. You have to access the CosmosDB right here, and the name ID. That's the row definition ID right here. That's important. And next command, you have to use it right here. You had to rows pay. You had the name ID right here. You had to copy it, and okay. Here, I call it the read-write row definition ID, right? And enter. And the next variable I had to define is the principal ID. Where you got principal ID? Okay. It's the function result you create when you turn on the system assign right here. I tell you, okay, when you turn on the system aside and you saving the they got the object principal ID, and here the principal ID really important of the Azure function result. You want the Azure function result to access to the CosmosDB, you have to know the principal ID. Copy this one and paste right in this command. Okay, two important thing. The first one, the system generate for you the role definition ID. The second one, you have to use the principal ID from the Azure function. And the last command you have to use right here. Okay, you have to use the command names right here. RBAC CosmosDB SQL SQL role assignment create, and the name account. Name account is the name of the CosmosDB account. Sheets and results group name, and after that you double code and slash right here. You can access any container in the CosmosDB, and next you pass the name of the role definition ID and the principal ID right here. We already definition right here. We have the definition right here. Okay, and after enter, you're done. Oh, fail to parse the incoming request payloads. Yeah, what's happened? Oh, something wrong. Yeah. Check. Right. Look at right here. The code. I had to use wrong code right here. I had to do again. This is the name of role based. And continue. The principal ID. And continue run it. So that's the all step you have to set up the role access control for the CosmosDB and Azure function, right? And we do successfully, okay? And right now we already done. The system already set up the configuration for us. And right now this Azure function can access to the CosmosDB with the managed identity access, right? There's no error, right? So we do this separately. So generally we have several steps like this. I summarize everything right here. For example, the first thing, you have to create the JSON file. For example, you definition. You get definition of your role. You can, for example, that's only read, or you can read or write, whatever. You create JSON file. For example, right here only read. For example, JSON file right here is only maybe have write and read, whatever. You can do both for different Azure function resource. Okay, each function resource that have different the authority, the right to access the CosmosDB. And second, you have to okay, have to know the name of your resource name and the account, the CosmosDB account name. And after that, you have to use this command. Okay, and you pass the name, result name, and the name of the file you upload. And after that, the system will give you back the name, rows name, ID. Definition is important. And after the next step, you have to get the principal ID from the function app resource, and you run the last command right here, the RBAC CosmosDB SQL row assignment create with the name of the account and result name, and you slash double quote right here is mean or container principal ID and the row definition ID the system gave you before right here, and done. Right now this is you can use the managed identity to access the container, any container in the CosmosDB. It means when you deploy, when you use the when you build up the API, the Azure and you deploy it in the Azure function resource, and something like this. I show you. I do some example. For example, right here, when you build up the Azure function and you deploy into the okay, for example right here, you use the you access to the this function will query some database into the CosmosDB, and they got the database from the CosmosDB. We use the system identity. So that's the useful things and very important thing when you set up the configuration for role play access control. As a lot of people may be confused about this, so it's a good experience. And next example, next video, I will show you how to use. I will build up the API, use the managed identity and deploy to this one. We already done this one, right? We are done. The identity successful done. So right, continue. I will deploy one function to here, to Azure function, and query the data. Okay, and see you next video. You can know how to use the managed identity to access the CosmosDB with Azure function. Thank you.